Hi, everyone in Internet land. It's Sharice Kirby here, and I'm with Carolyne Taylor. She's a very awesome, fantastic friend of mine and an amazing woman. She's also the creator of YoUnlimited and the Victoria Yoga Conference, and we're going to chat today about some of the motivations behind the things she does and what's in store for the next couple of years or beyond, and what she's going to keep creating in this world. So the first thing I want to ask is, okay, what's in store for us with YoUnlimited and the Victoria Yoga Conference next year?
It's exciting, actually. This is the first year with the yoga conference that we've had a theme. Okay. So the theme for the yoga conference this year is belonging. And belonging has become very important to not me personally, but to how I see the world. That everybody wants a place that they can belong, I believe. Whatever that looks like, for them. It might be that they want to belong in a small group, or they might want to belong in a larger community. They might want to make a difference with the community. They might just want to participate. So there's a place for everybody. And that's really what I try to achieve with both the yoga conference and YoUnlimited.
Okay. So when you say belonging and those things, so the theme is going to be different. What else is going to be different? Are there other things happening?
We're at UVic again, for the yoga conference. And the reason, there was a few people, I think we were talking earlier about how you focus in on that one little thing that somebody says, where you're like, oh no. There was a few people that didn't like UVic as a venue. But for me, and as I sit here at your house looking out at the trees and seeing nature, I really feel that peace comes in up at UVic. And it's just a great space. It's a little bit more spaced out, but we brought in some components this year, like an opening circle, a closing circle, a lunchtime place where people can gather, that'll be more conducive to people being able to meet each other and connect with each other, and some activities.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I can tell you I liked being up at UVic. I loved the room that I spoke in last year. It was beautiful. And like you said, it brings in the element of nature because there's lots of windows.
Yeah.
There's more space versus being in a conference center. So I appreciated it. And also getting outside to breathe in between classes, because the doors are right there versus being downtown.
I agree.
Yeah. So I'm excited that it's back at UVic again.
Yeah, me too.
Can you tell me on that note what the creation of YoUnlimited and maybe even more specifically Victoria Yoga Conference has meant to you?
It's really been a place that I think we're all called to do something in this world. And I think that the yoga conference and YoUnlimited both have been a place that I can serve. Like I can use my talents of being able to bring people together, or hearing an idea and knowing it's something that can work, can be good for our community, good for the world, and being able to bring that both, like just from that tiny idea to completion. So last night we had a fundraiser. It happened because somebody emailed me and said, like, maybe we could do something like this. And so I just made it happen. Exactly. And we raised some good amount of money for mental health initiatives and Michael Stone's family. So
beautiful. Maybe let's talk a bit about this community and how they come together. What do you think that's about? Because I travel to places, and I bring women in to my events and we do things, or I bring them to your events, and they're like, what's going on here? And
at my events?
At all our events. Like there's a community here that that I do see in other pockets when I travel, but lots of women ask me, how did you do this? Or how are you all collectively creating this community? And it's been an interesting deep dive. It's a lot of thought for me that I've been asking women, like, how did we do this?
Yeah. Good question. I think I've created things that I would like to go to do. Right. So, and the irony of that, of course, is that because I'm usually running them, is I don't actually get to do them. Right. Yes. So even last night's solstice event, I laid out my mat, but I only got to do like part of that practice and part of that practice because the door would open or somebody would come in. And so the irony of creating events that are things that I want to do is that I observe them, and then I have to travel somewhere else to do them.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Right. So this year, my goal is that I will actually participate in the yoga conference because I have an amazing team of people that are working with me, and I'm going to actually bring my mat out of my car.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But I do think, I do what I love to do, and then people come.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. And I'm not. I think.
I'll interject. I think maybe what has gone on here is, so when I'm asked that, what they're seeing is there's a lot of us women who have taken a leadership role in our own lives.
Yeah.
We've put something out there, and then we've all come and support each other. In support of one another. And I literally call it I just need to show up. I'm like, oh, Carolyn's got this thing on, I've got to show up. And if I can't, I'm like, here's why I can't.
Yeah.
And we're all just doing that for each other and it's a large group. And there's literally we could do something every night. But we're all just, I think, showing up for each other. There's a willingness and so it looks like we're collectively planning things, but we're not. You'll be like, hey, I've got this going on, I've got this, so I think there's an assumption, but we're really all just, I think, showing up for our own lives and
and organically sharing each other's information or sharing, because it's not like we sat down and had a strategic plan about how we're doing things. It's like, I'm going to do this. And I think the Christmas giving event with YoUnlimited is a good example of that. So we give gift bags to 22 women who are in third stage housing with the transition house. And I think that that's a really good example of that, because I never send out anything asking people to share things or do things or whatever. And yet I would open my Facebook, and all these people had shared my event to their communities without me asking or saying, could you do this? And so I think we are just naturally and organically supporting each other without any expectation. I think that's a big piece.
That is a big piece.
Without any expectation or any judgment if you don't. No. Right?
It's just I'm doing
yes, somebody shared it. That's amazing. Thank you so much. But I'm not can you, or they didn't, or whatever.
It's I think, and you're right, the word is organic. It's not like what we're seeing where there's this collective marketing plan. We're not doing that. It's just, it's happening. And maybe it's not huge, like we're seeing among some of the women that we know, but it's perfect for what it is for our community here right now.
Yeah.
And what is great is we are on this island. So it's almost like we could do this study of it. Because
it is blue zone.
Yeah. It's amazing. But it's on the
mm-hmm.
island in the green zone.
Yeah.
There's lots of blue around it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. So I'd like to dive into you a little bit. Can you tell me what your 3 to 5 or how many non-negotiables are?
I can tell you number 1, and that is my family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When I left my corporate job, it was because I wanted to be home when Russell came home from school.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, now he's like 29, so I don't need to be home at the end of the day anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I never went back to working corporately. I mean, I work with corporate clients, and I have an amazing community in my work that people don't see.
Yeah.
But I have flexibility within my schedule. So I think that flexibility and to be able to serve my family is absolutely a non-negotiable. Mm-hmm. I think I'm actually unemployable in a job.
Yeah.
Right. But I will work hard, and I will do whatever it takes to get work done and to build things that I say that I'm going to build. But if my family needs me, I will drop everything.
Yeah.
And I've always maintained that with the people that I've hired too. Mm-hmm. And they know, if something comes up, that is absolutely the first thing.
And I think that I'm with you. That's always my number 1. And I think that when we're honest about that, others appreciate it. Whether it's their top value or not, they're able to go, I know that as a leader, I can expect that from you. And so maybe we can talk a little bit about feminine leadership and what that looks like. But I still want to hear a couple more non-negotiables. Or is there others?
I think my own private time is very non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a very public role, whether I want to admit it or not. I mean, I don't think that I do, but apparently I do. So, so you won't see me sharing a lot of private stuff on Facebook, or, I might share like a meal that I made or something, I'm sitting down to have some quiet time, but, me being a private person is very important to me.
Sacredness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the other non-negotiable is, my time with my friends. I think that I thought I was so clever at one point because I came up with this whole thing about like, instead of family, it was like framily, because it was friends and family together. I'm like, oh, what a great word. I made that up.
Family.
And then I Googled it, and apparently
it already existed.
But, I have a small family. I have my mom, and I have my son, and then he has a larger family with his wife. But my friends are my family. And so the time with them, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Nothing about work, though. Interesting. Hey?
Pardon?
Nothing about work.
Yeah, I don't have anything about work in mine either.
No.
It's considering that that's what people are going to want to hear from us, or what we're known for. Like, I'm a sexy business lady. Like, no, it doesn't even come up.
No.
That's just how I make my money and how I serve. But
it's,
but I couldn't do that if I didn't have my alignment right with my family. For me, time in nature is critical. Like I have to be grounded. I have to be in open space. I can't live in a city. Like there's lots of weird, quirky things that have to be aligned for me to be in optimal performance.
Yeah.
And
I would like to add nature too.
I know. I think I'm going to move her out here.
You never know.
Maybe. And so we hinted a little bit on feminine leadership. What is that? And I think this is something that everyone's talking about right now because there are so many movements going on. We're looking for, there's this movement around breaking down patriarchy and bringing women into equality. And so what does that look like? And how can, we're going to do it wrong a lot before we get it right.
Yeah. Well, we're always going to do things wrong before we get it right.
So where do you think, just give me some chat.
I find it interesting to go back to like the 80s, right? When Gloria Steinem was doing her, and then I find it even more interesting to think like somebody could sit down and listen to her now, a talk from the 80s, and we haven't advanced that much.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that my mom was thinking the same things that I'm thinking now. And that makes me sad.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But I do think that
something's happened this year.
I think that something has happened this year, and I think that we can't be afraid to shine our light. We can't, and we have to lift other women up. And I see that as, to go back to what we were talking about before, I see that in our...
It'll come every time.
I think that we see that in our own community. As we were talking about, I think we lift each other up. But I think that there's that piece of like, if you see somebody not doing that, it's our responsibility to call them on it.
Yeah.
And it could be something as little as, at an event, I will see, people sort of like gathering into a clique. Yeah. A space that is like, oh, well, how would anybody ever get or feel comfortable enough to come into that space? And so I don't know if you were actually when we were up at Nourish one time, and I saw the circle closing, and I was like, hey guys, can you just like open up this end to make it more welcoming, right? And I think that we have to really like be aware of the impact that we have, because it's not intentional. It's like, here's my, and I see this, it's events specifically, right? But here's my group, and I'm so happy to see them all.
Yes.
Right. And so I'm just going to be with them.
Yeah.
But the person who just moved to Victoria, who, you know, just came to this for the first time, who, you know, all of those things, they don't know how to get in there.
How do we be welcoming in all of our spaces? I love it.
Yeah.
As a, you know, we all, because most of us women have trauma around this.
Oh yeah. Like people sit outside and don't actually come in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I love it that we're talking about this because this is, like, for me, it's eye-opening because I know I can be scary. So it's like, oh yeah, opening up that for people. Yeah. It's great counsel for all of us.
It's really important.
Yeah. And it's a tiny little thing.
Yeah.
Like just of making, like, and what is the purpose of the events? It, you know, on one hand, it's for us to collect as a community, but it's also to grow the community. Yeah. So if we're all being insular in our conversation or not inclusive, not intentionally. There's no intention. It's just, I can see what it happens, and I'm thinking about it right now, and I'm like, oh, that happens all the time.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and it can even happen in a small group of people who really know each other well.
Yes. Yeah.
Where you just get that feeling of like, oh, I just got left out of that, and the feeling of being left out is a terrible feeling.
So this is literally what I'm dealing with my daughter right now. And she's in grade school, or she's in middle school, grade 6.
That's when it's worse.
And so I'm looking at it going, oh my God, we never really grow up. Like, do we ever really stop? It's belonging back to wanting to belong.
Yeah.
It is massive. And
I'd actually like to name the yoga conference just belonging.
Yes. Yeah, I see that. And I feel that in so many ways, how the impact of it on my own life. Yeah. And how do we belong to ourselves? I think that's where my year has gone. So that's been interesting.
Yeah.
What do you wish every woman knew?
I think it's along the same lines, right? It's that they're okay and that they're perfect just the way they are.
And they belong.
And that they belong.
And find the people you belong with.
I was going to add that. Yeah. Like, find the people that you feel the best with. And let go of the ones that don't make you feel good.
Boundaries.
And sometimes we move on from friendships too, right? Sometimes people grow in different directions, and it's not a bad thing.
No, I talk about this all the time with my clients, and around when I design my year, one of my mantras is always like, I allow relationships to flow to and from my life and create mutually beneficial relationships with people where there's give and there's take. Granted, sometimes you'll give, sometimes other people take, and like there's just the movement of flow within those relationships. And I've been trying to teach this to my daughter right now. Like I try to tell her, literally, there's no one in my life right now other than on Facebook that I was friends with in grade 6 in my life. Like getting her to understand that this is a phase of life and things are going to come and go. And the lesson is for me too.
Totally.
To let things go and to be okay with my boundaries. This to be like, this isn't working anymore. I'm done here.
I just want to go back to something you just said too, because when you said like, sometimes you give more than you take, or you said something along those lines. And I think the other thing that we have to remember is sometimes we give and we'll never receive back from that person, right? But you will receive in other ways.
Yes.
So I think that's, if I went back to myself in grade 6, I think that's an important lesson too, right? Because, everything comes around.
I think that we could just end it on that, because those are all such beautiful. We covered a lot of ground in 10 minutes or however we were on here, and some really deep stuff. So I hope to see you at the Victoria Yoga Conference.
Oh, should we talk about what you're doing?
Do you want me to? I can talk about what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah.
So, So I'm going to be talking about creativity, which is always my jam. And this year has been hugely about creativity. I felt very uncreative for a while. And so but I knew, because I have an astrologer on call, then my creativity would come online in July. You all have that, right?
I do.
So exactly. So I knew it would come online in July. And did it ever come on at big time with refinishing furniture and painting? And I do have a painting mentor in my life. And I decided to go to her retreat, Laura Harris. And
isn't that her work? Right?
That's her work right behind me. So I love her. I went to her retreat and I painted with her. So at the retreat, at the yoga conference, I am actually going to be allowing people to witness my muse and to help them find theirs. So it's not about painting, even though I'm going to be painting and there will be music, but it's not about that. What we're really trying to get to is the heart of what makes me feel creative, and what is actually at the root of all of it is presence. This year has been a soul rocking year for me with, okay, now I'm going to cry, around presence, because my daughter demanded it of me like she never had. And I needed to show up for her. And I let a lot of things go. I reworked my business to be so present for her that it was a transcendent experience of like, this is what this is really about. Oh my God, this is what life's about. And in that, so then it just extrapolated into other things where I'm refinishing furniture, and like literally every stroke of the sandpaper was an experience of rapture, is what I would describe. And so painting for me became that. I'm not a professional artist. I've never sold a painting. I do really beautiful work.
But you will.
I do beautiful work. I love I love painting. But the work, it's not even about that. It's about, can I get you to find this presence and this experience of rapture? And that's what I'm going to try, and I'm going to see if I can do for the people that come to my session.
Very cool.
Thank you. I can't wait. So the dates for the yoga conference are February
9th, 10th, 11th. And then there'll be a few like longer workshops on the 12th, on the family holiday, Monday, Family Monday.
Nice. And then we will have, so that'll be happening. There's going to be a few events in between then and now, possibly.
Soul sessions.
And so lots happening. I hope you come and join us. We'll see you there. And contact Carolyne or the Victoria Yoga Conference for any questions. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.